everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and welcome to our look back at the 1993 Winston Cup season being brought to you by McDonald's. Now, we're here at the Sandwich Construction Company, one of the favorite hangouts of the Winston Cup family. And it is here during the off-season that a lot of decisions are made about who's going to drive what car and who will sponsor it. And it was right here, back about halfway through the year, that my co-host and I, old BP here, Benny Parsons, we talked about what would happen in the second half of the season. And Benny, I hate to tell him we told you so, but we said watch for Mark Martin. He's coming.
We told you. Didn't we tell you, folks? And he did come. 5 victories in the second half. Almost as many as Rusty Wallace with 6.
We talked about some streaking happening in Winston Cup racing. We're talking about on the racetrack. And Mark Martin with 5 wins, Rusty with 6. But the man they were trying to streak to catch, well, he didn't win that much, but he hung on.
He won 3 times. Daytona, Pocono, and then Talladega. And then he won the war. The Winston Cup Championship, which anymore, Jerry, is so valuable.
6th time he's won it. He moves within 1 of Richard Petty's 7 Winston Cup titles. So let's take a look and see how Dale did it in 1993.
The 1993 NASCAR Year in Review is presented by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Now the movie America fell in love with can be yours during McDonald's Holiday Film Festival. Take home the smash romantic hit Ghost for just $5.99 when you buy any large sandwich. Or treat your family to the children's classic Charlotte's Web.
Isn't it great?
Just $5.99 when you buy any large sandwich. You can see these new movies at theaters and own the originals. But hurry to McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
How do you know which motor oil to buy? They all look alike, they feel alike, you can't see them working in your engine. Well, first you ask the people who know cars best, ASC certified master technicians, and then you ask them which oil they put in their own cars. More top mechanics use Valvoline than any other brand of motor oil. Valvoline can help cars go 100, 200, 300,000 miles and more. So before you buy oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put in theirs.
People who know use Valvoline.
Are your kids wishing for something exciting? Radio Shack has it with action-packed radio-controlled cars. Kids control rough terrain with our Force One Rally. The new off-road Tiger lets them handle hills and straightaways. The Scorpion track racer's hard to beat, and the flamethrower is really hot. Now all you have to control is their excitement. For a great selection of this year's hot gifts, check out Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
The 1993 NASCAR Year in Review, presented by McDonald's, is brought to you in part by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker Steak motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And by smooth Busch beer and easy-drinking Busch Light. Excitement filled the air in Daytona, and the event didn't disappoint as 31 of the original 41 starters finished the 500-mile race. Dale Earnhardt pursued the lead relentlessly as he raced 3 wide with 1992 Indy 500 winner Al Unser Jr. and Bobby Hillin, leaving Unser and Hillin to come together in the infield, eventually collecting Kyle Petty with them. As you might expect, emotions ran high. After starting 34th, Rusty Wallace was on the move, climbing all the way to 3rd until lap 168. When this horrifying flip down the backstretch landed him a 32nd place finish. Rookie sensation Jeff Gordon impressed everyone, first winning his 125-mile qualifier, then tallying a 5th place finish in the 500. The final laps would be a classic Daytona 500 shootout that no one would soon forget.
As I got beside of Earnhardt coming to get the white flag, I knew I needed some help. I didn't get up far enough as what I wanted, but when I saw Jeff Bodine come in behind me, I just wanted that little push to get me in front of Earnhardt getting into turn 1. My car was so good that it allowed me to get to the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. And I knew once that I got there that they were going to have a hard time getting by me. We were either going to have a big wreck or I was going to be okay and win. Just seeing my wife Kelly's eyes when I got in victory lane was worth the whole time.
The Daytona 500 would be discussed all season long, but after Rockingham, the true points race would begin to unfold. Rusty would win Rockingham and follow it up with 2 consecutive top 10 finishes. Dale Earnhardt would also have 2 top 10s and an 11th at Atlanta to give him a 19-point lead over second place, Jeff Bodine. In fact, just 83 points would separate the top 5 as we headed to the short tracks.
The man in black stole the pole and the show at Darlington as he battled Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace. In the end, Earnhardt would claim his 8th career win at the track too tough to tame. Rusty Wallace tallied a 5th, his 3rd consecutive top 10 finish. He had now trailed Earnhardt by 57 points in the battle for the Winston Cup. But Rusty was poised to make his move. It was a subdued weekend at Bristol as tragedy struck the racing community. The 1992 Winston Cup champion was gone. But the cherished memories of Alan Kulwicki and his achievements would live forever. The racing was furious as Wallace and Earnhardt hustled to the front. Rusty would battle Dale Jarrett early until a confrontation with Bobby Hillen left the Interstate Battery crew extremely frustrated. The Wallace crew's biggest advantage came in the pits as a blazing 16.1 second pit stop kept Rusty well ahead of the rest, while Earnhardt made some unbelievable moves trying to catch him. Even that wasn't enough as Rusty won his 2nd on the season, honoring the fallen champion with a Kulwicki Classic, the Polish Victory Lap. At North Wilkesboro, things got off to a rough beginning as contender Mark Martin and others tangled at the start. Rookie leader Jeff Gordon also suffered through a very difficult day. Once again, Rusty seemed to have just the right moves to win his 2nd in a row and now assumed a scant 12-point lead over Dale Earnhardt, who finished a disappointing 16th. The Wallace Express kept coming. Rusty bumped his way toward the lead, trying to stay ahead of Earnhardt. The Childers crew would have its problems as Dale experienced engine trouble due to a broken valve spring and finished a distant 22nd. Wallace would just beat Davey Allison to the line at the caution to take the win. The victory cushioned his points lead to 101 and tied his old modern-day record for consecutive wins by a Pontiac with 3. Great racing was on the menu at Talladega as the 4, 3, 2, and 18 cars battled all afternoon. Late in the day, Rusty and Dale went head-to-head. That is until rain briefly halted the competition, leading to a wild 2-lap dash for the victory.
And Irvin is there, right on Earnhardt's bumper, and Irvin goes to the inside of Dale Earnhardt.
And the white flag is out. Here comes Mark Martin. He's going with Ernie. Spencer going on the inside as well.
Here they come off the 4th corner. Ernie Irvin leads them down now. Is he going to win the Winston 500? Jimmy Spencer is 2nd. They come through the tri-oval. Checkered is waving. Ernie Irvin wins, and Rusty spins and gets airborne and flips wildly right at the start-finish line, very reminiscent of his accident at Daytona.
Wallace's streak would end with a broken wrist and a 6th-place finish, but he still managed to maintain an 86-point lead over 4th-place finisher Earnhardt for the coveted Winston Cup. Injuries could not stop him at Sears Point as Rusty Wallace, fiberglass cast and all, qualified 6th for the Save Mart 300. It was a tough day for many competitors, including Dale Earnhardt, who found it quite difficult to stay on course. He'd eventually finish 6th. Wallace fared even worse as his day lasted only 64 laps due to transmission failure. After a final lap melee, Jeff Bodine would emerge victorious, but the torment for Rusty far exceeded that from a painful wrist as he relinquished the points lead to Earnhardt by a margin of 20. Moreover, the injury would lead to wider point deficits as time progressed.
Tell you what, you go out there and you flip 16 times in around and break a wrist and a couple of ribs and see if they'll change you for a couple races.
Norwin Dodge is having a like-new used car sale, and it's going on now. Norwin Dodge has over 50 late-model used cars, including rental cars, trade-ins, and lease returns, all priced to go with savings as high as $6,000 compared to new. A used 93 Dodge Dynasty, sale priced at $11,999 with air conditioning, power locks, AM/FM cassette, and more. Save over $6,000 compared to new. Norwin Dodge is ready to deal during the like-new used car sale. Buy today and save. Norwin Dodge, Route 30, North Huntington.
My store is my life. I've given it everything. To me, there's nothing else like it.
At Nationwide Insurance, we believe that every business is different. Each one has its own needs. You have to try
They've helped me with my home and car insurance, so I knew we could develop a plan to protect my business.
The last thing Bob needs to worry about is insurance.
In Jeanette, see Gordon Graham on Harrison Avenue. Irwin, Bill Lunn on Fairwood Drive. And in Greensburg, see William Rudolph on South Maple Avenue.
NFL Prime Monday is the place. 90 minutes of X's and O's from Theismann, James, Jaworski, and the rest of our pros. We've got roundtables with sports writers galore and Chris Mortensen with the story behind the score. We'll have live reports from the Monday night game and backstage with Julie Brown. She'll entertain. No matter who you are, no matter what you know, NFL Prime Monday. Back to your show.
NFL Prime Monday, 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Why use Valvoline motor oil? It's the #1 choice of Indy 500 chief mechanics, Daytona 500 chief mechanics, NHRA mechanics, and Baja 1000 mechanics. For use in their race cars and in their own cars. Any more questions? People who know use Valvoline.
Rusty Wallace's spring streak was one of many in 1993. But in May, it was the Intimidator's turn as he would win the Winston, the Coca-Cola 600, and Dover in early June. As summer began to hit its stride, Earnhardt held a 209-point lead over Rusty Wallace in his quest for a 6th Winston Cup championship.
Things did not get any better in Pocono for the Penske South crew when an oil line problem on lap 4 cost valuable time and points as they finished 39th. But Earnhardt's day would not be smooth either. A seal problem with his engine caused him to scramble to stay on the lead lap for an 11th place finish. Kyle Petty would earn his lone victory of the season as Rusty dropped to 3rd in the points, a distant 247 behind. Fuel mileage was the key at Michigan as Mark Martin totally dominated the afternoon. But his luck ran out, along with his fuel late in the day, handing Ricky Rudd his only win on the year. Rebounding to a 5th place finish, Rusty Wallace appeared to be on the mend, yet still maintained his 3rd place stance in the points behind Earnhardt, who coasted home 14th. Dale Earnhardt made it look easy in Daytona as he won his 4th race of the season. Early, it looked like a repeat of February as Dale and Dale dueled it out. Earnhardt fended off challenger Sterling Marlin in the end to increase his points lead to 345 over 18th place Wallace and 251 over a rapidly charging Dale Jarrett, who now stood 2nd.
The following week at the inaugural New Hampshire event, Rusty Wallace would get back on track with a victory, while point leader Dale Earnhardt would finish a distant 26th. That following Monday, the complexion of the whole sport would change due to a tragic helicopter crash at Talladega Superspeedway, claiming the life of Davey Allison.
Mr. Allison, 32 of Hueytown, Alabama, injured in a private helicopter crash yesterday at Talladega Superspeedway. Died this morning at Caraway Methodist Medical Center. He was pronounced dead at 7 a.m. by Dr. Evan Zeiger, Caraway neurosurgeon. The cause of death was massive head injury, and he was never able to regain consciousness once he arrived.
A stunned legion of fans couldn't believe that another hero was lost in 1993. And that weekend at Pocono, Dale Earnhardt paid tribute to his fallen friends following his 5th victory. The dedications would continue as the series returns to Talladega.
Thoughts and prayers were with the Allison family at their home track Talladega Superspeedway. Young IndyCar sensation Robbie Gordon was handed the task of replacing Davey. But a crash on lap 55 ended his day. And then the 32 car of Jimmy Horton and the 49 of Stanley Smith collided in a horrifying wreck in turn 1 that saw Horton careen from the racetrack. Jimmy miraculously was okay, but Smith suffered severe head injuries and is currently managing a slow but steady recovery. As if that wasn't enough, Neil Bonnet added to the excitement on lap 131 with some acrobatics of his own. Fortunately, he escaped unharmed. When things calmed down, it was Ernie Irvan and Dale Earnhardt battling for the win, with old Ironhead just squeaking by for season victory number 6. When we return, finally, Mark Martin gets a break. Stay with us.
Hurry to McDonald's Holiday Film Festival, featuring the classic Charlotte's Web, unbelievably priced at just $5.99 when you buy any large sandwich. Or get the hit Ghost.
Yes!
Or The Addams Family.
Showtime!
Or Wayne's World. Just $5.99 each when you buy any large sandwich.
No way.
You can see these new movies at theaters and own the originals. But hurry, because these values will be gone in a flash. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior wear protection plus superior heat and stress protection. New advanced formula Quaker State, formulated for today's high-tech engines.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and me. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Come on and head for the mountains of Bush. Here.
You can see all the NFL action every Sunday. Sit back. Let us do the work. ESPN NFL Primetime. We'll find every bone-crushing hit, search out every key play, and mix insight from our pros into television's fastest hour of football. NFL Primetime. Sunday night at 7 Eastern, only on ESPN.
After numerous strong showings, Mark Martin was wondering what he needed to do to win. And Watkins Glen's challenging road course provided the answer. Earnhardt stole Martin's lead early as Mark slowed for what he thought was a caution, but Martin would soon regain the lead with ease. Championship challenger Dale Jarrett would suffer transmission problems, leading to a dismal 32nd place finish, while Rusty Wallace could manage no better than 19th. Martin lost a lap in the pits due to a lug nut problem, thus leaving Kyle Petty and Earnhardt to battle for the lead. Martin narrowed the deficit, chasing the lead twosome, when suddenly Petty lost it, taking Earnhardt with him. As Mark Martin accepted the checkered flag, Kyle hitched a ride back to the pits. Jack Rouse celebrated his best day ever as a Winston Cup car owner, as his two drivers, Martin and Wally Dallenbach, finished 1-2. Luck continued with Martin at Michigan as Earnhardt lost a lap early due to a cut tire. Challenger Rusty Wallace dueled Martin as rookie Jeff Gordon looked for his first win. But Mark would hold on for his second consecutive victory. Amazingly, Dale Earnhardt would hang on for a 9th place finish, while Rusty came home 6th. Rusty remained in 3rd place, 324 points behind Earnhardt. The full moon at Bristol saw the points race heat up. Dale Jarrett's problems with the rear end saw him finish 31st. Martin proved dominant again with Rusty in hot pursuit. That is, until an unscheduled pit stop for a loose wheel. Wallace would lead, yet numerous caution flags and aggressive driving allowed Martin to make up his laps. At the end, Mark would squeeze out a victory over Rusty by mere inches. Earnhardt's steady pace produced the 3rd, leaving the challengers to wonder, how do we stop him?
Well, Earnhardt just keeps slugging away like a John Deere tractor. Just keeps butting along out there.
Mark Martin would be crowned Mr. August at Darlington after making the clean sweep. Ernie Irvin's debut in the 28 car would be the first in a series of driver changes soon to sweep the garage. Irvin and Earnhardt produced some exciting moments up front early, until Martin pushed his way up front to battle Dale, eventually taking the lead. Wallace's pit crew once again managed to keep him in the hunt, and in the closing laps, a desperate Earnhardt scraped the wall while trying to pass Brett Bodine for second. Martin took the checkered, Bodine followed with Wallace third and Earnhardt fourth. Rusty now held second in the points, 304 back, but only led Martin by a scant 3. For Mark, it was a fulfilling streak.
I tend to say that, you know, a win's a win, but to make it 4 in a row, it's special, man. I tell you, you know, these guys have worked for it, and they deserve it, and it's a dream come true. I didn't really expect to be able to beat the odds today. Now we're going to go to Richmond and try it some more.
Martin's streak would end at Richmond. Ironically, Wallace would begin another, winning there and also at Dover. Now, Earnhardt had his troubles at Dover, but still held on to a 181-point lead in the Winston Cup standings as they moved to the short tracks of Martinsville, Virginia.
It was a memorial front row at Martinsville as Ernie Irvin had the pole in the number 28 car, while Jeff Bodine was outside in the car number 7. An early crash between the 8 car of Sterling Marlin and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip brought out the caution. Irvin flexed the muscle of his Yates Ford as he moved to the front, only to be challenged repeatedly by first Dale Earnhardt and then Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt pursued relentlessly until lap 440 when his Chevrolet suddenly slowed, then moved behind the wall. Finished for the day due to an apparent failure of his rear-end gear.
Well, rear-end come out of it. We're sitting there, we got a lap down because of that flat at first. Sitting there just running at a pretty good pace. The brakes is getting a little warm, but we still had good brakes and everything. Awful hot in a race car today for some reason, I don't know, but we're just sort of holding our own there. I could go pretty hard, but I couldn't go with that 28 and the 2 cars. We'd sort of ride along there about 6-4.
Ernie Irvin continued on for a very emotional victory as the Robert Yates crew returned to Victory Lane.
Well, I tell you, it's pretty emotional. The whole time I kept thinking, you know, Davey never made it to Victory Lane here. Bobby never has. And everybody had their own idea what they wanted to do for Victory Lane. I've been wearing this shirt since I started driving this car. I knew we could do it. This is for Davey.
Rusty's second-place finish trimmed Earnhardt's point lead to 82.
I think it's a matter of luck. Barring the 2 races at Dover and Martinsville, been right there in the top 3 or 4, you know, or run second, run third, run fourth, whatever. And that's how you win races and win championships. You got to be there in contention at the end. So our luck's just not been quite on, but, you know, we've been pretty competitive.
For the second week in a row, Ernie Irvin took the pole at North Wilkesboro, while Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt started 11th and 10th, respectively. Wallace did everything humanly possible by dominating the race en route to a victory. But he couldn't shake Earnhardt, who managed to finish second, thus allowing a gain of only 10 points in the championship battle.
Rusty and Dale continue the battle in Rockingham, again finishing 1-2, with Rusty picking up his 9th win on the year. But the all-important point differential remained at 72.
If it ends up he's got 9 races or 10 races and I got 6 races at the end, as long as we win a championship, it's all that matters to me.
Phoenix proved disastrous for Rusty Wallace as he cut a tire and damaged the front suspension, relegating him to a 19th place finish. Now that, coupled with Earnhardt's 4th place finish, meant he lost 54 points, and really any realistic chance he might have had at a 2nd Winston Cup title.
In Atlanta, all Earnhardt needed to clinch his 6th championship was finish 34th or better. But things got off to a rather slippery start as he crashed his primary car at the beginning of Friday practice. He wound up qualifying a backup car 19th, yet there was some consolation as Wallace qualified 20th, thus focusing all eyes on row 10 at the start. Things went smoothly for Earnhardt, unofficially clinching the championship on lap 141 when T.W. Taylor crashed. Wallace led 189 of a possible 328 laps en route to his 10th victory of the year. The season was over, and so was the points battle, with the final margin of victory a mere 80 points.
Well, I thank this crew. The good Lord looked after us all year, and the crew did a great job. I just can't say enough about them.
You can see these new movies at theaters and head for McDonald's Holiday Film Festival, where you can pick up the original videos, The Addams Family, or Wayne's World. Just $5.99 each when you buy any large sandwich at McDonald's.
Cool.
Also available, the children's classic Charlotte's Web, or Ghost. Just $5.99 each when you buy any large sandwich.
I was not aware of that.
But hurry, because they'll be gone in a snap. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior wear protection plus superior heat and stress protection. New advanced formula Quaker State, formulated for today's high-tech engines.
You're watching ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
It certainly was an incredible 1993 season. So you fans remember everything you saw in 93 and now wipe it clean and forget it, because it's all going to change in 94. Different cars, sponsors, car numbers, drivers. And you know, it all began back early this year with the tragic deaths of Davey Allison and Alan Kowicki. In fact, Benny, Ernie Irvin was the first driver to make a move.
He moved into the 28 car, out of the 4 car, and that just started a chain reaction that's unbelievable. First of all, let's start at the top. Rusty Wallace, they're saying, is going to race a Ford next year. With 10 victories in a Pontiac, he is going to race Ford. He's going to trade car for car, engine for engine with Bobby Labonte. So next year, Labonte in a Pontiac, Rusty Wallace in a Ford. The 5 car, Ricky Rudd, he decided he had to own his own team. After Jeff Bodine bought the 7 car, he's going to start his own team. Terry Labonte will drive the 5 car with Kellogg's sponsorship.
And see, Ricky Rudd goes from Chevrolet to Ford, still keeps tied, but doubles the number from 5 to 10. Okay, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Okay, and the 16 car is going to be sponsored by the Family Channel, Ted Musgrave. I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
We talked about the changes for the regulars. What about the rookie battle? Most anticipated rookie battle in Winston Cup history this year with, of course, Jeff Gordon, Kenny Wallace, and Bobby Labonte. But what about 1994? A pair of brothers going after it.
Unbelievable. Ward and Jeff Burton both got great rides in 1994. Competing for the Rookie of the Year. Steve Grissom, the Busch Grand National Champion, moving into a brand new team, competing on the Winston Cup circuit. And rumors that Joe Nemechek, who won the championship in 92, he's got a full-time ride next year on the Winston Cup circuit. 4 great Busch Grand National drivers moving right into Winston Cup.
And let me add T.W. Taylor, a former pharmacist who's run awfully well on his own team. He is there. And how about an Andretti, the nephew of Mario, coming on board? John Andretti driving for the veteran Billy Hagan in that operation. How many is that?
That's 6. Rookies.
I got homework to do.
You know, and folks, I've talked about at least 38 cars competing every race next year. And we go to short tracks, Jerry, there are only 34 spots. It's not all going to fit. They just can't fit it all in there.
Let's see, 8 short track races, 34 cars, 38 full-time rides. I do that math in a hurry. We don't need Bob Jenkins to do that one. I realize at least 4 cars are going to go home every week from the short tracks. What an incredible 1994 season it should be. Even more competitive and more exciting than 1993. Once again, for Benny Parsons, I'm Jerry Punch. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next year.
The 1993 NASCAR Year in Review has been presented by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.